on Ray Plays Guitar, we're doing a used amp bargain buy spotlight. And today, we're shining a light on the Vox Night Train NT15H. This is a great sounding amp you can pick up relatively cheap, and I'm going to tell you all about it today on Ray Plays Guitar. All about the Vox Night Train NT15H. Let's get into it. So this is an amp that Vox first produced in 2009. And I don't even remember how or why I wound up with one. So in a nutshell, what is it? It's one of these little lunchbox amps. Small package, as you can see. They call them lunchbox amps, but I still can't figure out where to put my Cheetos, let alone my bologna sandwich.
My bologna has a first name, it's H-O-M-E-R. My bologna has a second name, it's H-O-M-E-R.
But it's a 15-watt amp with two 12AX7 tubes in the preamp section and two EL84 tubes in the power section. And it sounds like this. So as you can hear, it has beautiful clean sounds. So I read on b5amps.com that he was saying that the transformers that they use in this amp are are sturdier than he expected to see in an amp like this. For example, he said the Fender Blues Jr. is also EL84 powered, which I wasn't aware of that until I read that. Similar wattage. Same output tubes, except the transformers in a Fender Blues Jr., he says, looks like they might have come from like a Fender Champ. But the transformers in this guy, in the Vox Night Train 15, he says, looks like they could have come out of a 50-watt Marshall. And I think that's part of why this amp, for a 15-watt amp, has a lot of headroom. All you got to do is turn that master volume all the way up, and then just use that initial gain as your volume, and you have all the headroom you need. It's a pretty loud amp. I'm surprised. Some of the other features it has on here, it has a bright and a thick switch. It's a one-channel amp, but that switch kind of changes the characteristic of this amp altogether. The bright, you have the tone stack, but when you flick it over to the thick side, then you bypass the tone stack. It's like nothing is in your way. Let's check it out. So the thick mode sounds thick. The idea behind the design of this amp was that the preamp section was inspired by a Trainwreck Express. Trainwrecks were amps built by Ken Fisher, and very unique amps. The overdrive on his amps are very, I guess he would push it to the point, right to the point of instability. His amps always felt like the sound was alive. It has a really unique distortion. And I think the thick mode on this is kind of more that train wreck kind of experience. But in the bright mode, you get the full Vox chimey clean kind of a thing. And that side can be pushed too. Yeah, let's try that. We're back on the bright side. And I'm going to bring the master volume down a little bit. We're going to push that gain up. And let's hear what that sounds like. So that was on the bright mode, but with the gain pushed to about 230, and we have the master volume at about 10 o'clock. And that's a great sound, and it feels great too. And I'm using humbuckers. Sometimes lower wattage amps can't handle humbuckers, but this amp is definitely keeping up with these. And what are these? Well, yeah, let me tell you what's going on. This is just a parts caster guitar. I got it's a Jim Root Squire body. It's a mahogany body, and we have Seymour Duncan 59s, the Vintage Blues SH1 59s, and then this neck is from some sort of special edition telly. But this amp sounds great with these humbuckers. So the other thing that this amp has is you can run it in pentode mode or triode mode. What is that? Well, basically, pentode is full power, and triode will put you into half power, 7.5 watts. But the sound changes a little bit too. Pentode is going to be a little more detailed, a little crisper. Triode mode will give you a slightly softer edge on the top end. So just to give you an idea, we're in pentode mode here. We're in the bright side pentode mode. So yeah, this amp is tiny. I would bring it along as a backup, actually, to my bigger amps. And then it stopped working. I think I blew a fuse and I just kind of forgot about it. For a couple of years, I had it in a broken state. Finally got around to fixing it. Took it to Moon Music Pro. Just started using these guys. And if you're in the Austin area, you need some repair work on your amps, take it to Paul at Moon Music. They're on Anderson Lane. They do great work. The third amp I had him work on. And this is the best this amp has ever sounded. Like I said, I was using it as a backup. Now that I got this, I'm excited about this amp. Now you can see the exterior is metal and it's magnetic. So, you know, you could do fun things like this. There's no reverb on board. There's no effects loop because it's tiny. Okay. And because it's tiny, one of the things that went wrong with it was there was a part, what was it? It was like a capacitor that, you know, it's a small board, so everything's crammed on there. And so they had these capacitors that I guess were close to the tubes or something, and they got a little hot and burned out. So Paul replaced them with capacitors with a higher temperature rating. Down here in Texas, that always helps. That's the downside to these small amps, is everything is crammed onto that board in there. When this came out in 2009, they were selling for $700, and now they're going for around $300 and below. Like I said, I saw one today for $229. So if you're looking for a tube amp that's small, portable, that sounds fantastic, find a used Vox Night Train 15H. Go for the head, and don't get the matching cabinet that comes with it. Get a bigger cabinet, preferably a 2x12 or a bigger 1x12. I'm running this through this Reverend cabinet, this Reverend 1x12 behind me, which has a cream back in it, a Celestian cream back, and I'm miking it up with a SM57, and that's going straight into a Focusrite 2i2. Sounds great on the clean side, sounds great on the thick side. What's there not to love about this amp? This is definitely small, definitely portable, definitely sounds great. I'm glad I bought it. Like I said, I don't even remember buying it. Where the heck did this come from? Do you have one of these Vox Night Trains? Do you love it or what? Let me know down in the comments. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell. But most of all, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.